5th of June, 2146 Imperial Calendar. Phoebe Wolf, Ruin of Cyrenia, Imperial Western Land Campaign. Marshal Turner, a decorated veteran of numerous wars and campaigns for the Empire, stood tall at 160 years old. Though considered one of the youngest marshals within the Empire, his experience and determination were unmatched. His hair was a deep shade of black, still full and lustrous despite his advanced age. His piercing grey eyes held a fire of determination that had not diminished with time. His handsome face showed no signs of aging beyond 25 years old, thanks to gene editing and various age extensions. Assigned to lead the 12th Army Group in the Imperial Western Land Campaign, Marshal Turner knew that if successful, his name would be remembered throughout Imperial history. As he gazed out from his temporary headquarters at the devastated Alliance base and the city of Cyrenia, he couldn't help but feel a sense of pride in the work his army group had completed over the past month. They had successfully breached the Locust Line and taken control of Cyrenia with minimal casualties. But as he looked beyond the ruins of the Alliance base, now converted into his headquarters for the campaign, he saw remnants of the fierce battle that had taken place. The various pyres scattered throughout the city served as a grim reminder of the atrocities committed by the Alliance forces. What kind of monsters would sacrifice their own citizens? The Alliance had essentially massacred this entire city. Marshal Turner could still vividly remember when his Imperial forces first entered Cyrenia and witnessed Alliance soldiers killing and burning innocent civilians whom they were meant to protect. It was then that he truly understood the brutal nature of their enemy. Under the guise of promoting equality and safety, the Alliance was willing to sacrifice their own people in order to deny the Imperial forces control of their city. A truly despicable act by monstrous individuals. With firm steps, he returns to the center of the command tent. His eyes scan the room, taking in the bustling activity and focused faces of the soldiers stationed at various stations and aides processing data from the front lines. In the heart of the tent lies a central holographic display table, projecting a detailed map of the planes and marking the locations of all friendly units. Above this, display boards constantly flicker with a myriad of information, providing real-time updates on the ongoing battle. A monotone voice breaks through the hum of activity, announcing new developments. 9276 Volunteer Rifle Company has engaged with believed remnants of the 12th Royal Axiom Guards Company. Chances of success currently at 81%. The aide responsible for relaying this information is linked to various machines and computers through a mind-machine interface, MMI. This groundbreaking invention allows for direct communication between the user's mind and technology, resulting in unparalleled efficiency and lightning-fast processing of information. Turner has yet to receive his MMI implant, but according to those who have it, they hardly even notice its presence anymore. As he studied the battle map, deep in thought and strategizing the next move of their advance, a man in a black dress uniform entered the room. His trench coat was neatly pressed and adorned with various medals and insignia. But what drew Turner's attention was the jagged scar that ran across the man's face, barely missing his eyes. Turner immediately recognized him as Commissar Clark, the legal and public relations officer for their army group. "Ah, Commissar Clark," Turner greeted him. "I was just about to go find you." Clark gave a slight nod and smiled. "Well, I am here now," he replied. Turner had only known Clark for a month since the beginning of the war, when the Empire reintroduced the role of commissars into their army. It was a controversial decision that still sparked debates among the military high command. But Turner paid it no mind. As they discussed the latest updates on the war crimes committed by the Alliance within this city, Turner couldn't help but feel a sense of horror and disgust. "What do you think about it?" he asked Clark. "It is a true display of the horrors humanity is capable of," replied Clark, sadness evident in his eyes. "But I will make sure that the entire world knows about their crimes." He straightened his back, determination shining through his gaze. Turner felt a sense of relief knowing that someone like Clark was on their side, using his skills not just for propaganda, but also to bring justice to those who deserved it. As Turner and Clark continued their discussion about the events in the town of Cyrenia, they were suddenly interrupted by the arrival of a woman dressed in a crisp white dress uniform adorned with numerous military medals. She strode in confidently, her short skirt swishing with each step, and greeted Turner with a crisp salute. "Afternoon, Marshal," she said with a hint of authority in her voice. "Afternoon to you too, General Brooks," Turner replied, returning the salute. He knew Brooks well. She was a general in charge of the Royal Forces Detachment, a highly specialized force responsible for rear area security, supply, and various types of support. As if on cue, two men in sleek black armor entered the room. One had a crest emblazoned on his helmet and bore the infamous assault skull symbol on his side. The other was filled with different sensors and communications arrays. "Welcome, Centurion Anderson and Knights Commander Campbell," Turner said to them. Centurion Anderson was the element commander for the Assault Legion's Northern Front, known for their expertise in overland assaults and breaching operations. It was thanks to him that they were able to breach Locust Line so easily. The other man, Knights Commander Campbell, was in charge of the equally renowned Black Cross Detachment. Their specialty was rapid breakthrough and encirclement operations. Both units were considered to be the elite of the elite within the Imperial military. As Turner looked around at the assembled group, he cleared his throat and began, "My fellow commanders, I am proud to report that the past month has been a resounding success for us. With your unwavering dedication and hard work, we have managed to push the Alliance forces back an impressive 300 miles. A sense of pride and accomplishment filled the air as everyone nodded in agreement. As you all know, our next mission is to capture the strategically important city of Pine Grove on the edge of the Locust Plain," Turner continued, his gaze landing on Anderson. "And thanks to your fierce Assault Legion forces, we have breached the Locust Line with unprecedented speed and efficiency." Anderson remained stoic and unemotional as he responded, his voice calm and steady despite the gravity of their situation. "There is no need for thanks," he said, a hint of pride in his tone. "It is simply our duty to carry out our missions with precision." However, he couldn't help but ask for forgiveness for their recent failure. "I must also apologize for our slight delay in neutralizing a few outposts. We were, on average, 85 seconds late." Turner nodded in understanding before speaking again. "Still, it is an impressive feat that you and your Legionnaires have achieved. And I would ask even more of you. Your Legionnaires will act as backup in case we encounter any more fortified locations." Anderson replied without hesitation, his voice devoid of emotion. "We'll comply. My Legionnaires are yours to command." "As for you, Knights Commander," Turner turned to address the other leader, "and your guardsmen. Your role in taking Cyrenia with minimal casualties cannot be understated." Campbell's response was blunt and direct, but lacking any emotional undertones. "We were still late. We did not arrive in time to defend the civilians against the Alliance." Turner placed a reassuring hand on Campbell's shoulder. "It is not your fault or the fault of your guardsmen. Who could have predicted that the Alliance forces would resort to such despicable tactics?" He then turned back to address both leaders with a serious tone. "We need your guardsmen to be ready for the next phase of our plan. It involves cutting off the supply and retreat lines for the Alliance so my soldiers can surround and siege the city." Campbell's reply was simple yet determined. "Will do. As we advance in our campaign, General Brooks, I must emphasize the utmost importance of rear area security and supply. Your Royal Forces have undoubtedly displayed exceptional performance thus far. But as time marches on, our need for provisions only intensifies. What will be necessary for my soldiers to continue assisting your troops, Brooks?" Turner gazes at Brooks with an air of keen anticipation. "Your Imperial soldiers have already done more than their fair share in the field, Marshal. However, if possible, I urge you to maintain the existing transportation lines so that my logisticians do not have to establish new routes for supplies." Brooks responds confidently. "I will relay this request to them," Turner assures him. Our entire campaign hinges upon capturing Pinegrove, which is a crucial stepping stone towards conquering Axiom's capital and achieving victory alongside our allies. Keep up the excellent work and make sure your troops are well rested until it is time to move out once again, Turner declares firmly. After the meeting concludes, the commanders linger a few moments longer before dispersing and returning to their respective tents. Come with me. Clark's voice is sharp and urgent as he leads Campbell to his tent. We need to talk, he continues, his steps quick and purposeful. As they enter the tent, Clark turns to face Campbell. Good job on Cyrenia, Knight Commander, he praises. I assume you handled all of the potential problems? Yes, Commissar, Campbell replies confidently. We have eliminated all possible witnesses except for the group of targets that were led out of the city by the 2 agents of the 5th Battalion. Question, Commissar, Campbell speaks up. Why did you allow us to let the group of civilians escape? It could complicate our operations. It is all part of the Overlord's plan, Clark responds coolly. She needed some of the civilians to survive as a way to decrease the chances of the 5th Battalion's agents being noticed. Wouldn't that just give the civilians a chance to spread the truth about what truly occurred? Inquired Campbell, his tone laced with skepticism. You are exceeding your authority, Guardsman, reprimanded Clark. The risk has been carefully calculated and assessed. What the Overlord deems necessary does not require your input. Follow your orders, Guardsman. Campbell saluted sharply and made his way out of the tent, leaving behind a tense atmosphere crackling with unspoken tensions and looming consequences. The weight of his heavy boots echoed against the hard ground as he strode through the camp, his mind clouded with thoughts and doubts. He trusted his gut feeling, knowing deep down that letting those civilians go would come back to haunt them. But he also knew it wasn't his responsibility to worry about the future consequences.
His duty was simply to follow orders and ensure that the Empire remained in control, even if it meant controlling the narrative in history books.
If mistakes were made, it would ultimately be Clark's burden to bear. For now, he had done his job. 5th of June, 2146 Imperial Calendar. Somewhere in the desolate Locust Plains, the refugee group sleeps soundly under the watchful eyes of Alliance soldiers. Alexander's heart pounds in his chest as he sneaks behind a jagged rock, careful not to be seen by anyone. With trembling hands, he reaches into his breast pocket and pulls out a crumpled note. The numbers and letters scrawled on it are the key to their next mission. Out of nowhere, a silhouette emerges from the shadows and Alexander's body tenses, preparing for any possible threat. As he recognizes the figure, Alexander hurriedly speaks in hushed tones. Phase 3 of Operation Dagger is done. Our next objective is to make our way to Pinegrove and support the 12th Army Group. The figure nods, but raises a crucial question. What about the civilians with us? Alexander's voice drops to a low growl. The Ordos have deemed them as nothing more than pawns for our infiltration of the city. We will rendezvous with the 5th Battalion elements and coordinate further operations. But the figure is not convinced. Using innocent civilians as cover? It's a dangerous game, Alexander. And if they talk to the media about what really happened in Cyrenia, all our work will be for nothing. A cunning glint flashes in Alexander's eyes. I have a plan for that. The soldiers I've brought along are already working for us. He pauses, then adds coldly, and if necessary, they can be sacrificed. Copy, the figure responds quietly, offering a silent prayer for success. Glory to the Empire, he mutters as he turns to leave. Glory to the 3 lords and the 3 houses, Alexander replies with equal fervour before crushing the note in his hand and swallowing it whole, erasing any evidence of their conversation.